Now, the US president has said that he is not considering strikes within Venezuela, despite having deployed fighter jets, warships, and thousands of troops to the Caribbean. Satellite imagery has shown the US military ship just under 200 kilometers away from the Venezuelan coastline, carrying out military drills. Let's speak now to retired Marine Colonel Mark Cancian, senior advisor with Center for Strategic and International Studies. Colonel, thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thanks for having me on the show.
What's the background of this dispute? Why has Donald Trump set his sights on Venezuela?
Well, there are long-term reasons. For many years, the United States has taken action and opposed drug running into the United States because of the damage it does to the citizenry. And the regime in Venezuela has been regarded as illegitimate since it has lost several elections and manipulated the results. It's bipartisan and long-standing. What's new is President Trump's direct action against Venezuela and drug smuggling. In the campaign, he promised to stop the smuggling of illegal drugs in the United States, particularly fentanyl, and to safeguard the United States. Homeland security was a top priority. So he began this campaign with attacks on alleged drug smuggling boats with a side goal of intimidating the Maduro regime. That has expanded over time. So now actions against the Maduro regime are larger than the counter drug and have raised these questions about a U.S. strike on Venezuela.
Is there any evidence that there has been an influx of fentanyl from Venezuela? I think people have long spoken of drug cartels bringing in drugs into the US, but specifically fentanyl, which is something that Donald Trump has been talking about quite in a major way even before his elections. But is fentanyl specifically coming in from Venezuela?
The consensus is that it is not, that fentanyl is coming in along the Pacific and through other routes, that from Venezuela, it's mostly cocaine and marijuana. Now, the United States has conducted some strikes in the Pacific that may have picked up some fentanyl shipments. But to be fair to the Trump administration, the U.S. efforts against drug smuggling have been very broad, including all manner of illegal drugs from marijuana all the way up to fentanyl, including cocaine.
Now, Colonel, Russia is being involved here because President Maduro has reached out to Russia for assistance. The Russian Foreign Ministry has denounced the excessive military force by the United States. And they say that they firmly denounce the use of excessive military force in carrying out actions in anti-drugs operations. Has this got the potential to escalate?
The answer is probably not. Maduro has also reached out to the Chinese, but the Russians have been his patron, the regime's patron, for many years. They've provided a lot of the weaponry that the Venezuelan military has, but the Russians have their hands full right now in Ukraine. They don't have any military capabilities to spare, and their ability to project military power this far away from their homeland has always been limited. So the Russians will complain, they will denounce U.S. actions, but they don't have the capability to really help the Venezuelans.
Colonel, I also want to get your thoughts on something that developed yesterday. Donald Trump has ordered the military to prepare for action in Nigeria to tackle Islamist militant groups, accusing the government of failing to protect Christians. What do you make of those instructions so far?
Well, the United States has had long-term efforts in Africa to counter these kinds of insurgent groups, terrorist groups, Boko Haram, for example. But the fact that the Trump administration has threatened the use of U.S. forces is new. The United States has had special operations forces operating in the region for a long time, although recently those have been pulled back. It's not surprising on the one level because two things have happened recently. The Trump administration has created a commission on religious liberty and has been particularly sensitive to what they regard as anti-Christian attacks and discrimination. But there have also been several massacres of Christians in the last couple of weeks, and I think that combination has pushed the Trump administration to at least rhetorically take some action. It would be unusual if they did, though, because Trump has campaigned on staying out of foreign conflicts, and to get involved in two foreign conflicts within a month would be very much against what he had campaigned on and what much of his base would support.
Colonel, thank you for your time. Good to speak to you. Colonel Mark Cancian, Senior Advisor through the Center for Strategic and International Studies.
Our country is respected again. When they treat me with that kind of respect, they're treating our country with that kind of respect, which is much more important. And our country is respected again. Do you have any questions?
There are reports that you are considering strikes within Venezuela. Is that true?
No.
That you made a decision on that?
No, it's not true.
The High Commissioner of Human Rights, Roger Turk, when talking about the U.S. strikes in Caribbean and Pacific, he said these actions violate international human rights law and it's unacceptable. Does the Secretary General share the same statement with the High Commissioner?
He does.
I think
the Secretary General, as I said, echoes what Mr. Volker said, what the High Commissioner said, that in what people say are operations to counter illicit drug trafficking, they must adhere to international standards, including limits on the lethal use of force. It's clear to us at the UN, I think we've been very upfront about it, that issues regarding organized crime, regarding the illicit drug trade is a serious threat to member states and communities worldwide. But combating it requires international cooperation, as well as innovative public policies to address the root causes of the violence and the drug addiction. This is the analysis that our Mr. Turk's office has developed, and we fully back it.
Does the Secretary General believe that such actions violate the UN Charter?
Any action by member states need to fully respect the Charter.